Legends, what's up? It's Darkmech here from BDGG, and today we're covering off a Mythic raid guide to Terros in the Vault of the Incarnates. So what is different for your guild in moving up from Heroic to Mythic difficulty? Well, the Mythic only mechanic that you will deal with here is a new dot called Infused Fallout. Now, players have to stack to remove this, and it inflicts damage proportionate to the amount of players that stack to remove the dot. So you want to be careful about how many players you are stacking with in removing this dot. Now, upon removal of Infused Fallout, a pillar will spawn from the ground from a little yellow circle, and you have to dodge that. Otherwise, in Mythic, the group soak that you have been soaking through normal and heroic, this now inflicts damage to all players, and because of this, the whole raid has to soak to limit the damage of that. Outside of this, the fight doesn't change from heroic to Mythic. It is a one-phase absolute DPS churn and burn before you run out of room. So let's get stuck into it. First thing we're going to talk about in detail is Infused Fallout, and this is that Mythic mechanic. So players will receive a dot that they can clear by touching other players. This will then trigger an explosion, and a pillar will spawn at that location from the little yellow circle on the ground each time your tips touch. Now, for each dot dispelled in the process, the damage of the explosion is increased. So it's recommended that you don't group with more than 4 players at a time with your explosion. However, you can work multiple ways around this. For example, you could have 2 groups sorted out, a melee and a range group, even numbers in each one. And you could elect the melee group to clear first, big explosion, dodge the pillars, heal the raid up. Range group, then stack, explosion, dodge the pillars, heal up, and away you go, allocating certain CDs if needed with those stacks. At higher gear points as well, you could also elect to just have all 20 people stack in one point, allocate a CD to it, and all move out of the way. You could certainly get around this doing that at certain points in the fight as well. But in a nutshell, you get the dot, you stack with your friends, even numbers. 4 is a really safe number, 5 groups of 4 just merging into one, dodge the pillar, heal up the damage, and that's it. Now, another ability with a mythic alteration in this fight is Rock Blast, and this is that meteor-like ability on a random player where you soak to split the damage or the target gets one shot. In Mythic, the damage is inflicted to every player, meaning you will want as many players as possible to get in that soak. Ideally, the whole raid needs to be in that soak. After the blast, it leaves a pool at the same location that will explode a few seconds after, dealing massive damage and knocking players upwards, so you need to get out of it. Awakened Earth still functions the same in Mythic, so some players will get that 5-second debuff that spawns the pillars. Your raid wants to form a line, so the pillars can be destroyed with the beam via the concussive slam, which is that massive line that comes out from the boss. Now, speaking from the tank point of view here, give us some fucking room. So if you've got the soak circle and if you've got the debuff, move 5-10 yards away from the boss's hitbox, just so the tanks have room in front of the boss to position themselves to break those pillars. Now, your raid can elect to do the pillars in one slam, meaning they're all set in a row, or 2, and they can split these lines between the left and the right side of that soak. If you are doing them all in one though, ensure that you've got healing or damage reduction abilities set to cover each break, and also allocate a side of the soak for where all the pillars are going to go. So for instance, if you're breaking them all in one, everyone that gets the debuff, place your pillars on the left side of the slam. That way everyone else can be on the right. The tank knows where all the pillars are going to go. They can be in a fairly straightish line, and then you can run around, slam them, and that's easy. You get more pillars as you progress through the quadrants on this boss. So, during the first, breaking them all in that single isn't a problem. There's not going to be that much damage going out. As you get around though to the 3rd and 4th quadrants, you are going to have a fair bit more damage going out with those single breaks, so just make sure that you're aware of that in regards to allocating cooldowns to get through that. The pillar spawn locations still knock people up and deal a bunch of damage, so just make sure you avoid them. The active pillars will also radiate damage as well, so just be aware of that. Concussive Slam is the exact same for the tank, so it's the 2-second cast, it's the big beam we're going to use to destroy the pillars. You get your debuff, which is that 40% stackable damage vulnerability, debuff for 45 seconds. It's still the tank swap mechanic after every 2. Shattering Impact, exact same. It's that 3-second cast, marks an area with a big bad circle that explodes and kills anyone inside it. and a second wave of rubble will fall immediately after that triggers off as well, so watch out for that. Watch the puddles on the ground. At 100 energy, Terros will still cast that Resonating Annihilation, so the big smash, any pillars that are left up, they'll be destroyed, a lot of damage, pulls behind, all that kind of stuff. So manage your pillars with the Concussive Smash really well, make sure your raid's placing them, using your cooldowns to survive through that, rotating counterclockwise around the raiding encounter, use your movement ability, use your gateways to transition. This is an absolute DPS race. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.
Legends, if you really want to help me out and support the channel, please consider pledging to our Patreon. Tier 3 and above will see you getting your name at the end of every single video we create, as well as some hidden perks in the Discord. Thanks so much.